Still sheltering in place? Stay at home? What you need is a cookie. Okay, it's time to make cookies, but not just any cookie, chocolate chip cookies. But I don't want some hard, crunchy cookie. I want a cookie that has a nice crispy outside and a nice warm, chewy inside. Of course, with lots of chocolate chips and a marvelous flavor. So we're going to make some chocolate chip cookies. For this recipe, you'll need 1 cup of brown sugar. I like the dark brown sugar, but you can use light brown sugar. 1/2 cup of white sugar. 3/4 of a cup of oatmeal. This is the quick cook 1 or 2 minute variety. This just gives the cookie a little extra chewiness. 2 cups of flour. 1 egg plus 1 egg yolk. 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. 1½ sticks of butter or 3/4 cup. And some vanilla. First thing we're going to do is melt the butter. And of course, some chocolate chips. We're going to combine some of the dry ingredients. So, 2 cups of flour, the oatmeal, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and let's make that a little rounded. A little extra salt in the cookie helps to offset the sweetness. And 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Baking soda, strangely enough, reacts with the acid in the chocolate chips, and that's what lets the cookies rise. Other than that, there's no other acid in this recipe. But we're going to stir all these ingredients together just to get them mixed up. Into the bowl of our mixer goes our sugars. Let's keep the cup out of there. And the butter. Melted and cooled, room temperature or a little warmer. Gonna mix these together until they're nice and sort of creamy. After about 2-3 minutes, that looks pretty good. We're going to add the eggs. 1 egg. And here's the secret ingredient for this one. It's not the shell, trust me. Secret ingredient for this recipe is 1 extra egg yolk. Not the white, just the yolk. That extra yolk provides extra fat that gives this cookie its wonderful chewy texture. So here's our extra egg yolk. We're going to blend those together now. Time for the vanilla. Did I forget the vanilla in the list of ingredients? The thing in vanilla that gives it that wonderful vanilla taste is a chemical called vanillin. And better vanillas have more vanillin than not better vanillas. So if you're using the pretty much inexpensive store brand, you probably want to add a little bit more than the 3 teaspoons of vanilla that's called for in this recipe. A little extra vanilla never hurt anybody. And back to mix. Time to add the dry ingredients. This is our flour, oatmeal, salt, and baking soda. And I'll do that with the mixer on low. Going to make a pretty stiff dough. The original recipe I started with suggested 1 to 2 cups of chocolate chips. Personally, I don't see any reason why anyone would use anything less than the absolute full 2 cups of chocolate chips and maybe then a few. I'm going to release the lock on this mixer and dump the chips in. Then I'm going to mix it slowly, just enough to get the chocolate chips all mixed in with the dough. You can see the mixer jumping. The reason I unlock it is so that it won't squish any of the chips against the side of the bowl. Give that a little squish just to sort of scrape down the sides of the bowl, make sure everything's nicely combined. Now I've got 2 parchment-lined cookie sheets, just regular, like half full sheet pans. And I've got a scoop that's about golf ball size. Now I'm going to start scooping out cookies onto the sheet. I get about 36 cookies out of a batch, sometimes a few more, sometimes a few less. Depends on how generous I am with the cookie dough batter. Sometimes I make a little bigger cookies, sometimes I make a little smaller cookies. Obviously, smaller cookies you get more. Don't want to make them too small though. You want a nice, chewy cookie that you can really get your teeth into and that provides a nice serving. Oven goes to 325 degrees with the racks midway and close to the top. Okay, oven's up to temperature. Time to put in the cookies. .325. Cookies bake for 15 to 17 minutes, but we're going to start checking them at 11 minutes. 11 minutes is up. It's time to check the cookies. Well, you can see they've started to spread out a little bit. Not quite spread out enough yet, though, and we're waiting for them to get just a little bit brown around the edges, so we need a few more minutes. Okay, we're right at 15 minutes now. Let's see what these guys look like. Oh, yes. Just barely starting to brown right around the edge. We're going to give them just a minute or two longer. Time for the cookies to come out of the oven. And as you can see, the cookies have spread out a little bit. They've lost some of their height, and they're just a little bit brown right around the edges. The next secret is to let the cookies cool on the cookie sheet. You don't want to take them off to a rack and let them cool. That will make them a little bit harder. So if you let them cool on the cookie sheet, they will retain their moistness. It's been 7 minutes, so that's enough time for the cookies to cool. The extra sugar in this recipe gives that cookie its nice crispy exterior, and then the extra egg yolk makes it soft and chewy on the inside. Oh yeah, they're pretty good. Of course, ample chocolate chips, a little salt to just set off that sweetness. Excuse me. Cookie. Yeah. I think I need to test another one.